Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Digital Nomad World weekly series. I'm Becky, and once again, I'm going to be your host. And today, we're going to be talking about finding your next workation with Stefan Knoppers. Stefan, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. I'm really excited to dig into this topic because we were talking a little bit before we started, and you had said that right now it's quite common for digital nomads and remote workers to not be able to fully leave the country that they're working in, even if they're working from home. And so workations have been something popular, and you're trying to help nomads. Is that what I understand?
Exactly. We want to make it a normal part of your everyday life, everyday work life, to take a vacation or to work abroad for a couple of weeks a year.
Love that. All right. So first of all, I want to start by asking you, can you tell us about your background and how you first started your digital nomad journey?
Sure, for sure. So I'm Stefan, 36 years old. I'm from the Netherlands, and I don't think I'm your typical nomad, if there is a typical nomad. So I have lived a considerable time abroad. I lived for 2 years in Sofia, Bulgaria, for example. But actually, since I started working, I've not been free to work remotely abroad at all and experience the world. My earlier employers demanded that I be present in the office 5 days a week, and they just didn't believe in working remotely. And during that time, I actually became quite envious of the freedom freelancers and entrepreneurs had through the digital nomad lifestyle. And I had planned my escape, so to call it, by in the future starting my own company someday. And then came COVID, actually, and that changed everything. So together we proved conclusively that we can work remotely and be productive at the same time. And during that time, it was like the first couple of months of COVID. I actually had a colleague who went to work in Sicily for a couple of weeks on a vacation, and this guy came back and he was practically glowing. And he told me like, I've never been more productive, and I've never been happier in my life. And I was like, wow, I want this for everybody. So that's what I set out to do, and that's why I started working from Hammock, to make taking a vacation a normal part of your professional life, and at the same time, by building a company around this, gaining my own freedom to work from anywhere.
Oh yes, I'm sure that the story you shared isn't, the only one. I can think of at least three or four friends who are wonderful workers, but they're either considering quitting their current jobs because they're not allowed to work remotely, or they're, like you said, they're not allowed to leave the country where the company is based. And it's so sad when you think about it, all this talent that companies could lose just because they're being inflexible with location.
That's the sell, one of the sells also to the company, saying, hey, if you want to be competitive in a job market where employees have the upper hand, then you need to do this. But also there are more benefits. Less employee sick leave. People are happier. When they're happier, they're more productive. They get more creative. It's not good to be in the office every day. Go out, get some more sun, because that's what most people do. They go to places they love, and they get re-energized. So it's a win-win. But right now we're focusing on the employee side, getting the basics right, and then hopefully in the future we can also look towards employers and see how we can help them.
So you mentioned like these people go to their favorite places. What are some of your favorite countries that you've been to in your travels? Have you managed to go anywhere like in the pandemic? Did you go anywhere? Well, it was a little more acceptable to work
No, so
remotely.
the first year, no, we stayed close to home, so we traveled to Germany by car, but we didn't take the plane. And the second year we could have, but we had a little one on the way, so we decided to stay close to home again. So we didn't go any further than the Canary Islands.
Okay. So have you been able to take a workation yourself?
Yes, yes, we have. So again, for us, it's non-typical kind. So my partner, she works in the hospital. She has a job that we can't do remotely. So what we do is we plan them around our normal holidays. So I work in the mornings, I work in the evenings, and like during the day, we just plan to do fun stuff. So we do
Okay.
that 2 times a year.
And if you don't mind sharing,
If you're
what are
interested
some
to
of
know
the
where we've
places
been and what I can recommend,
you've been?
just let me
Yes.
know.
Yeah, I would love to hear like where are a few places that you ended up going.
Yeah, so since the pandemic, we've been mostly in Europe. One of the places I absolutely loved was Slovenia. So it was really beautiful there. I love nature, very quiet, nice people, and it was affordable as well. But we've been to Spain, we've been to Portugal, we've been to Canary Islands, Germany, as I said earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
My
hearing
big travels
nature.
were before we had the little one.
Oh,
Because
yes, yes.
I
Yeah, that's another thing to think about too, is like workations that might be good for families. That's a whole other part of it because you're still working. You need to, experience things, get out there, see different things with the family. So but maybe we're going to be able to
yeah,
talk about that as well.
it's
So
something
let's
simple as daycare, something simple as daycare. So that's another challenge we'll have to tackle. I'm not there yet.
Yes, yes, of course. So let's talk about working from Hammock. How did you first come up with the idea, and what are some of the things that working from Hammock offers for people?
Sure. So I saw an opportunity to improve the work-life balance for those of us working behind the desk. And I set out to taking a vacation carefree and make sure you have a great experience where you can still work effectively while on vacation. And we actually realized that the same challenge that you would have to solve for these remote workers, the guys with just a day job, um, which are like deciding where you're going to go, finding accommodations with good Wi-Fi or a proper desk or a good co-working space nearby, and arranging for things like visa or insurance, are actually the same challenges that are experienced by digital nomads, even the veterans. So what we decided is that if you can solve these challenges for digital nomads, and help them make planning their next nomad trip easy and carefree. And actually, I think we're on the right path as well to achieve our greater goal of helping remote workers do the same.
Yeah, like there's a lot of like cross pollination and overlap there. And if you can solve the problem for digital nomads, I'm sure you can solve it for remote workers.
Yeah, it really is very similar. So we first we're looking at remote workers, and we realized, okay, now this is something for the long haul. This is a battle we're not going to win in a couple of months. And if I want to be around to fight that fight, then we do have to find, let's say, a group who is already doing it, who we can help make it easier for them to plan. Because this is let's say a larger group already experienced to it, so it's a larger target group for us to help, and hopefully this in doing so we can survive to fight that bigger fight.
I do want to ask you about the name because working from Hammock, I think, is like the nightmare of actual companies trying to get their
Yeah.
their remote workers to be productive.
This took about 10 minutes. So from the moment we decided that this was something we wanted to do, I want to do a play on working from home. So I decided on working from Hammock.
I do really like it. I think that that is one of those cliches that, companies are like, well, if you get in a hammock, then, how productive can you really be for
You know what?
us?
I think it's more comfortable than some of the couches people have been
Yes.
working from if there was no desk available.
Yeah, definitely not everybody likes a desk. And when you have the work, I think the point that we're trying to prove to companies, right, is that it doesn't matter where we are, where we're sitting, we can be productive and, we just have the tasks and we're going to get it done for you?
Exactly. This is what it's about. And some people, they really do work better in the office. I mean, they thrive on social interaction. Again, you can get social interactions in other ways as well, but they love it there. But there are people who say, you know what? I don't need to be in the office every week. I don't need to be in the office every day. Let me work my hours where I'm most productive in a place which inspires me rather than coming to the place just because you chose that place as a place where you wanted to found your company.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think time zone should matter. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Again, I think time zones really depends on the type of work. In my previous work, I was in calls 8 hours a day. So then working from Bali, you do have to be able to change your schedule. But now the way we're working with, uh, it's quite flexible when we can. And there's even destinations quite far away. If you look at Cape Town, for example, between the Netherlands, there's no time difference. So it really depends on what you do, but it is very possible. It's just changing the way we work, and it's this is the thing that's going on now. It's a big shift is towards hybrid work. It's I think it's something it's going to take a couple more years until we get it as like a society, until we adapt to this new way of working really.
Yeah, I'm wondering with working from Hammock, to go back to the services. So what can you do on the website? Can you find different workation ideas? Can you book things through the website?
Yeah, so we set out, say, to solve one main problem, and that's to save you hours of tedious research in preparing for your next trip. And we built several tools to do that. So we help you find a destination with a tool which is similar to what you could find on Nomad list, but it's free. And the only reason I built it because Nomad list was behind a paywall, which said, hey, you know what, this is gonna perhaps keep people from actually taking that first step and looking at the destination. So we decided to create a light version of it, which is completely free. But the main thing we've done is help you find accommodations. So say, for example, you want to go and have your own place to work from. You don't want to go to a co-working space. And then probably you need good Wi-Fi and you want a proper desk. And finding that can be a challenge. So people often spend hours searching on Airbnb and Booking.com, reading through the reviews, because you can't trust the filters. The people that did, some of them regretted it. And we've actually automated that process. So what we've done, we've taken the listings from Airbnb, we've taken listings from Booking.com, and we've automatically analyzed all those guest reviews using AI. And what we did is we show only those accommodations which has guest reviews, which say, hey, I worked there remotely and I had a good experience. And to give you an idea of the amount of time, let's say, if you went from about 50,000 potential Airbnb properties where we already selected filters, a good Wi-Fi and a work desk available, and we filtered it down to about 2,000 properties where we actually had positive reviews as a confirmation that this was a good space. And in that process, we went through thousands and thousands of reviews. And if you had to do this manually, it would take you so much time. So this is the main thing. The last thing we've done is say, hey, not every country allows you to work remotely on a tourist visa if you're going to go for just a couple of weeks. And not every country has a Nomad visa, or even though the Nomad visas are more inclined if you want to work there for a longer period. So we created a tool which tells you exactly if you want to work remotely for a couple of weeks or longer in a particular country, what type of visa do you need? Is it just a holiday visa? Is it a digital nomad visa if you want to stay longer, or is it a different type of visa? So and this again, you can't book anything with us. We just give you information and you can book on other sites.
That does sound incredible. I have to tell you, I personally waste a lot of time going through those reviews. So I'm really glad to hear that there's an AI tool that you've got that I can start to save time with. But like you just said, I cannot directly book through you. I can just see the listing, or how does that work?
Exactly. This is the thing. So we show you, for example, an Airbnb or Booking.com listing. We show you the images, we show you the information, and then you can go to Airbnb or Booking.com to actually book. So you don't have to trust our site. You don't have to trust me with your payment details or anything, because that again would be a barrier, because you trust Booking.com or Airbnb, but who's working from Hammock? So we decided not to do this and just to let you book in an environment that you know, but to do give you the information that you need to get a more carefree experience without having to spend the time.
Fantastic. And is your tool also showing the updated availability of those listings? So I can just click a link and it'll take me directly to Airbnb, or can I search for like available dates within your website?
So it's not perfect yet. So we tried to get access to Booking.com via the API, so you have real-time information on prices, availability of every room at all times. And then they told us we have to be quite big in order to get that access. We said, I need to get access to become quite big. So what we're doing now is we're scraping Booking.com every day, getting all that information, and then we're just running it through our systems. So it is accurate, but it's not real time.
That's good to know. But again, like it'll guide all of us in the right direction, and we can identify those properties, like you said, that are going to be the best for us.
And if it is something that's more people enjoy just besides you and me, then hopefully very soon I will get access to the API because we have enough people directing from our website to their website.
Yes, exactly. And do you plan to add any other services to working from Hammock?
Yeah, we have several ideas, but I think the main thing there will be is figuring out what do you really, what do nomads, what do remote workers really need. So I've got a lot of great ideas. You could let me build for another year, I'd be happy. But the main thing is figuring out how we can improve what we have now to make it even better, even more like towards the needs of let's say the digital nomad community. And then to really, let's say, dive into what else we can do to make their life easier before just me thinking of it and starting to build something.
Yeah. No, there's always like ongoing needs. Things are always changing, I know, but also perfecting what you're building is very important. So you had mentioned before like co-working, and I'm wondering, do you recommend when people go on a workation, how do you feel about using a co-working or or staying in a co-living during a workation? Can working from Hammock assist with finding those as well?
So I think one, it's up to your personal preference. And like I've read a recent study amongst digital nomads that actually said about 20% of nomads enjoy working from a co-working space. So actually, they prefer it, in part because of facilities, good Wi-Fi, good workspace, but also to connect with other nomads. But the majority of nomads actually prefer to work from their own accommodation, and they use platforms like Meetup to connect with other nomads in their destination. Can we help? Yes, we can. The idea now is to gather all those co-working space we already have. You'll see it in the upcoming update from the website, but also the co-living spaces, to have them available on the site. You can see it as an offering. You click to those websites to actually book, just to make sure that you know that these are available.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I know also different people's jobs, like you said, for example, your wife is not a remote worker, but there's certain elements you might not find in a co-working that you need to have present. Like I am a podcast host and I cannot record in a co-working. Yes, if they have a private room, maybe, but usually
Exactly.
I know I have to be at home, right?
Yeah, so I work from a co-working space as well. It's a startup hub here in Nijmegen where we live. And they do have the spaces, but still for this call, I took it from home.
Yes, yes, you never know what's going to happen in that environment, right? So, and I know a lot of people were teaching, they were teaching English or something online, and it was another big, like, common job nomads were doing. They just couldn't do it at a co-working. So,
And again, it's a professional environment, but the internet I have here at home is a lot faster than if you have to share it with 40 other people, no matter how good it is. So
true.
depending on
Yeah,
what your needs are, that's something else to take into account.
right. Well, I know that you have a young child, and there's circumstances that are preventing you from, being a full digital nomad, going anywhere at any time. But do you have in the future an ideal destination planned for your own future workation? And if so, where would you like to go?
Yeah. So you see me smiling, so we're very much looking forward to this. So our biggest upcoming vacation that we're planning is a 3-month stay in Canada at the beginning of next year. So
Oh, right.
my partner, she's able to go for like let's call an internship, for lack of a better word, for a 3-month stay in one of the hospitals in Canada. And me with my job now, I'm flexible, so we're taking the kid and we're going there for 3 months.
Fantastic. I was really unsure of like how flexible your wife could be with her job, but I also have heard of travel nursing. There's a lot of ways for medical professionals these days to also kind of
Yeah,
work in different places.
yeah, for sure. And she's still in training, let's say, a specialization. But once that finishes, I mean, we're free again to go and see. So we're actually exploring now to, after she finishes, maybe go to UK or maybe go to Italy, two places that we love.
That would be amazing. I really hope you guys can start to just have that freedom to go wherever you like, and with your family as well.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're welcome. Um, so I'm wondering, is there anything else that you would like to share with us that we haven't mentioned yet?
Sure. So if I may direct it at the audience, so if you're made it this far watching our interview, then perhaps you're interested in what we're trying to achieve. And if you have any ideas or any feedback you would like to share with us to help us out, please reach out. So you can reach
Thank
us
you.
on LinkedIn or Instagram. Maybe you can even leave an email address. But I would look forward to connecting with you guys.
Thank you for that. There's another question I have based on what you've just said, actually. So you had mentioned before that people sometimes go on their workation and they use Meetup to meet other nomads, something like that. Would it be possible, or have you considered adding a function onto Working from Hammock that would allow people who book the workation to find other people that are also looking to go on a workation, and maybe they plan, even though if they haven't met, they plan to go to the same city, and they may or may not meet each other, or they may decide to live kind of close to each other and not be alone on their journey, but not have to live together like a co-living or something.
It's a great idea. And more people have pitched it to me as well. So this is something we could look into the future, but it really depends on if we can add value there. If it needs to be on our platform, and if we can create a platform for it, instead of just using digital Nomad World for it, for example, already 28,000 members. So it really depends. I don't want to create a community if there's already a great alternative, and there are already great alternatives available. So it's something to see in the future, if you can do something new which adds value.
Yes, I know that is a complicated thing, also with trust, but I do think I know that a lot of digital nomads struggle with being alone or connecting and feeling like they have a sense of community around them. So it would be wonderful if somehow we can start to think of how to build the best setup for this.
So I would love, if people have ideas, I would love to brainstorm about this, how we can build the best version of this, even better. Because if the current version are not meeting the needs, I think digital nomad world should also pay attention how we can make it even better.
Yes. And my final question related to things that you could add is, so I know you have a family and you have made filters and you've scraped a lot of information. Are you also considering, or would you consider scraping data for the best places for families to go on vacations or workations, I should say, together? Because I know like you need a triple room, or it's harder, right, to find the right accommodation.
But I think it goes further than that, because depending on if you go as a family, you have different needs. So it's not just the accommodations, but also destination which is suitable to it. Depending on the age of your children, you may need daycare, which should be available. So if you go even longer, then maybe you're teaching your children, so you need different spaces for that as well. So I think it's broader than just the accommodation. So yes, for sure, I would love to. But I've not figured out the complete needs there to start building.
Yeah. I don't even know off the top of my head if booking.com or Airbnb. I know Airbnb may have some filters around it, but I don't know how good they are really with like kind of filtering out for those types of accommodations.
If you look, I'd have to look into it if you're looking from an accommodation perspective. The main thing we've done with the website, we're trying to do with the website, is to create just one stop for you to arrange your whole location, because all the information is available, but it's very much scattered. And if you can create one place where you can just get all the information, not for booking, but just to get inspiration and plan your trip, I think again we're taking away a hurdle to prevent you from, which otherwise prevent you from taking a vacation.
Yeah, I hope anybody watching this is inspired to find these destinations. And even like you said at the beginning, to plan workations, even if at the moment you're stuck in one country as a remote worker, there's ways to do this. And hopefully, as this continues to become more common, companies, we're going to see that there's plenty of ways to be productive from anywhere.
And it's just to connect with what you say now. I think the let's say the movement, that the momentum is with us. So one of the things we made available on the website for free is actually for employers, and it's an employee vacation policy. So how can you, if you're going to let your employees go on vacation, how to, let's say, direct this into a correct flow so there's no problems. And this thing is downloaded over 5 times a week for almost a year now. So we've had hundreds and hundreds of companies, mostly HR, interested in integrating this, implementing this into their own policies to make this possible. And this is not just in the Netherlands. So it's we're getting there. If I just look at those statistics, we're going the right way.
I think so too. Well, Stefan, once again, thank you for joining us. And if people want to follow you, where can they go?
So we're active on LinkedIn and Instagram at the moment.
Okay, and is your Instagram at Working from Hammock?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, and also people should go to workingfromhammock.com, right?
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. Apologies, you went to the Dutch site. Do not go to the Dutch site. It was a testing
Originally.
round.
Don't go to .nl, everyone. Go to .com,
Exactly.
which is I'm sure the
Thank
first
you.
thought people would have. Yes. Thank you, Stefan, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the week.
Thank you. Likewise. Bye.
Bye.